I'm on a mission. Join me as I explore 50 towns over the next year throughout the Algarve. And if you live in one of those towns, just get in touch through a link in the description. It'd be great to video with you. So where is Salema? Well, it's situated in the Vila do Bispo Concelho, one of 16 in the Algarve, with about 200 to 300 local residents. And it feels bigger as there are many holiday homes here. It's almost 30 minutes drive west of Lagos. You'll need a car, or if you want to take a bus ride, it's about an hour from Lagos. They have 5 buses a day and it costs about €5.40 per trip through vamos.pt to get there. So it's kind of expensive by bus. The A22 highway stops in Lagos, as does the train line. So the EN125 single lane main road is your main access route west from Lagos to Salema. And another 20 minutes westward from Salema takes you to Sagres, or the end of the world. Hang on. There are actually 2 important points before we carry on. Number 1 being healthcare. If you want to go to a hospital, the main ones are in Portimão and in Faro. However, there are a few private clinics in Lagos and a great one in Prado Luz, which is only 20 minutes away. So check out my map of the private hospitals in the Algarve with link in description. But there's a Centro Saúde, like a small one in Budens and in Vila do Bispo. So that's government hospitals. Shopping, you can pick up the basics in Salema. There are a couple of little mini markets or mini mercados in Salema and one Italian deli where you can pick up the finer things in life. However, bigger grocery stores are available in Budens, where there's an Intermarché there, and there is a Lidl in Vila do Bispo. All the major grocery stores have shops in Lagos, and Portimão is your closest for a fully fledged shopping mall. As we fly over this beautiful seaside village, you'll note that unlike many other places in the Algarve, sea views abound. For example, the Cavoeiro area is built on a relatively flat cliff that drops off sharply to the ocean, limiting the opportunity of sea views. But here in Salema, the whole village slopes down to the ocean, and most places have stunning ocean views. Now the center of town is right here, and we'll dive down soon and walk around, but here's the general layout. Parking areas, beach concessions, and the Atlantico Cafe and Restaurant opens at 10 a.m. just about every day. Beach Flavors Restaurant is right next to it when we stop there for breakfast in a bit. Pastelarias Sol Mar is a classic Portuguese cafe, and there's a little mini market and a bank machine in between the two. The Spice Cottage Indian restaurant is just around the corner with Lourenço Portuguese Fish Restaurant up an alley. Now coming back down, there are a couple of small stores and then the Hotel Residencial Salema, which has been there for a while, flanked by Concha Restaurant and then Salema My Sushi. Salema Tours is on the curve, and as we head slightly eastwards, the Rua dos Pescadores heads up the hill with Travessa do Miramar forming a beautiful walk along the beach. Now let's have a closer look at these 2 streets. Kicking off with Casa Pizza Salema, which also does deliveries and takeaways, renowned for their pizzas obviously. Down on the Travessa Miramar, a Boya restaurant is where I had lunch later. It's a lovely beachside restaurant, but it's okay, it's not spectacular. Sometimes the service has been a little, let me say, unfriendly. Then if we carry on up the Rua dos Pescadores, there's Atabua Gin and Cocktail Bar, Restaurant Agua na Boca, and Bar Aventura a little higher up, with a recreational club on the sea view side. It's a lovely, simple and very local little cafe. Now back down on the Travessa do Miramar, which you can connect to, there is a restaurant called Olhos N'Água. As you can see, there's lots to do around here. Hike the coast, lots of long hiking routes, walk your dog on the beach, fish, surf, normally in winter. You can walk yourself on the beach. You can cycle. There's off-road motorbike trips. And Carl, we meet in a second, has a big group of motorbike aficionados, and they all go off on these missions. You can eat. You can drink. You can sleep on the beach. There's just tons to do around here. It's very relaxed. YouTube eats first. Hey guys. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you again. So meet Carl and Robina. They moved over about a year and a half ago, and they chose SALEMA as their spot to buy a house, and they're super happy there. So let's hear how the story unfolds. Firstly, we had to get out of Beach Flavors, which is a fantastic restaurant. They got TV for sports events and all kinds of stuff. So we headed up the hill to go and have a little chat on a rock. Ciao, obrigado. So Carl, you're going to gun it up. Make lots of noise.
No.
Come on.
That was too hard.
Yeah.
Rain. Things are still green.
It's beautiful.
It's so pretty out here.
I'll show you what it looks like.
Right. Can we put it here and then we can face that?
Okay, so guys, this is Robina and her husband Carl's just over there. Maybe he's going to run behind us and say hi. But they moved to, we'll talk about all their movement. So basically they're living here in SALEMA, and it's fantastic to have you on. So thanks so much for...
Thank you for having me.
I know, we've been messing around trying to find this place for a while. It's a bit of a pain, isn't
Right,
it?
right. It's hard to find a place in SALEMA where it isn't windy.
That's true. Yeah, the wind is coming over like you wouldn't believe here, but we can hear,
Yes,
which is
good.
perfect, yeah. All right, so let's talk about SALEMA. We're in SALEMA right now. We're just outside. We're on the city limits, town limits.
Town limits, correct.
What's it like living in SALEMA, and why did you choose it, and how did you choose it? A lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Okay.
All right. So
Pick one.
I think that, for starters, Carl and I really wanted to be on the western side of the Algarve. Just the landscape, the topography appealed to us much more than the eastern side. That's personal choice. And then...
Because of these beautiful cliffs and things like that.
Exactly, the cliffs are beautiful. And then we wanted to be coastal. At least I wanted to be coastal. Carl would have been, I think, happier to have been further inland, but...
I remember this happening on our tour.
Remember this?
Yeah.
But again, but then he doesn't like bugs, and it gets buggier and hotter the more inland you go. And so near the coast, you always have a nice breeze, and it's usually cooler by the coast. And because of the winds, fewer bugs, flying bugs. And so I knew I wanted to be coastal. And then it was just a matter of like picking which coastal town. And so there was SALEMA, there's Portugal, there was Praia de Luz, Lagos. So it was really just a matter at that point of finding something that really fit our lifestyle. And
Did it come down to the actual, not the town so much, came down to the house that you found on the market?
there was that too, because the reality is we knew we didn't want to be in the city.
Yeah.
So we knew we didn't want to be someplace like Portimão or Lagos or any place that was more crowded. We wanted to be something that was a little bit more remote. And then the housing became an issue, certainly, because when we first came and did the scouting trip with you, the houses, the pricing was much more reasonable. And by the time we actually moved, the prices had started to skyrocket. And then things that had been previously achievable for us.
You mentioned a couple of statistics. I think it was 300,000 one house was, and then it went up to 700.
Oh, right. So there was a house here, right nearby, that we had looked at during the scouting trip, and it was in the 400s. And we thought, oh, this is adorable. It's, it's still quaint and small. Has the national park behind it, woods behind it, and then you still a sea view. There's no pool, but that's okay. The 400s. By the time we moved here, there was a house right next to it that was for sale in the 700s. And that's outrageous.
Not the exact same house, huh?
I don't believe it was the same house. But
so that was what, a year and a half later?
Year and a half, yeah. But the same design, the same,
right.
It was just outrageous. So we were priced out. And
I think things have stabilized since then, just so you guys know, but it was crazy those couple of years.
Right.
It was just nuts. Yeah.
And the reality is, one of our goals moving here was that we wanted to be debt-free. And so we could have taken out a loan and still could have gotten the house that we wanted, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to live within my means and live debt-free, because we have certain goals for our retirement. And so then we had to shift. And so we ended up in the condominium, which is okay and probably better suited for us in the long run. We don't have to worry about landscaping and all of those other things. So
it's fantastic. So how about daily life in Salema? I mean, it is far away from what I would call civilization, but you've got a lot of stuff going on here. There's everything you really need. So do you have to go out a lot, and do you find yourself traveling a lot?
We do actually travel a lot. Salema itself, it's very nice. There's plenty in the town, so we can just walk right in. There's a wonderful Italian deli right in town, which I go to often to get real American bacon.
Yeah, you'll see that on the video that we made. You can see the deli there.
Right, it's a nice little, and there's lots of amazing restaurants right in town, so we tend to walk in a good bit for dinner or lunch. But the reality is many of our activities and many of our friends live elsewhere, so we find ourselves driving. I dance, for example, and the only dance sport ballroom studio that exists is in Sagres, which is north of Albufeira.
Oh, you found one? I remember you asking.
Yeah, so I have to drive to Sagres twice a week. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, again, I'm from the US, so driving 45 minutes to get somewhere is not a huge deal. It is for the locals, but it's not for us.
Do you find that like we often talk about this, that as you arrive, you're like, oh, I can drive an hour, I can drive an hour and a half. And it slowly comes, more time you spend in the Algarve, 20 minutes becomes the norm, right?
Oh, this kills me. So Carl, my husband, the other day I said, because there's two main grocery stores we go to. We go to Lidl in Vila do Bispo, which is closest to us, but they don't have everything we want. So occasionally we go into Lagos and we'll go to Continente. Lagos is literally 20 minutes away. Literally. Door to door. And Carl will say, oh, I don't want to go all the way to
There
Lagos.
you go. That's what I do all the time. 20 minutes.
Well, back in the US, I used to have to drive 15, 20 minutes just to get to the closest Hannaford. And now he thinks it's an eternity away to go there, right?
But yes, it happens. It absolutely happens.
It does.
For
it
sure.
Happens.
So, and living in Salema, the lifestyle, I mean, do you spend a lot of time on the beach, or or how does it actually, because a lot of people want to move to the beach just to be close to the beach.
Right.
They don't necessarily want to go to the beach.
Right. So I am one of those people. I am not a beach goer. You will not find me laying out in the sun, worshiping the sun on the sand. That's not who I am. It's not who I've ever been. But I've always said, I want to be near the ocean. I want to see the ocean. I want to hear the ocean. I want to smell the ocean. I want to go swimming also in the ocean, but I don't want to lay out. I don't want to spend my day laying out sunbathing. That's just not who I am. So this is perfect, because for me, this is the ocean. I'm already here.
Yeah.
And we go for hikes a lot, and I love just walking the cliffs. This is our backyard. We are literally in my backyard. So I just walk out my door and we get on the hiking trails and we just go for a walk. And there's all these little beaches along the way that you can only access via a small hike, and that's where we go to get away from as many people as possible.
Fantastic. It's lovely.
So it's lovely, yes.
Obviously, yeah. And coffee shops and things like that, is there enough to keep you happy down in Salema?
Sure, there are at least two that come to mind, and anywhere you can walk in anywhere and just get a cup of coffee.
What about Boya? You've been to Boya?
We have been to Boya, yes, they're very good there. Again, lots of really great restaurants. There's an amazing If you like Indian, we found one of the best Indian restaurants around, we think.
It's called
the Spice Cottage.
Spice Cottage.
It's really good. There is Ulurensu, which has amazing traditional Portuguese food, mostly fish. There is Inlumbrandu, which we just walked by, and they're a little bit higher end, and I think they're amazing. It's great for a date night. But other great restaurants, Atlantico was really good, and Boya is very good.
Atlantico, yeah.
Yeah, and there are many others that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but yeah. And there's this great place. I forget how it's pronounced. I always want to call it a Taubua, but it's not. It's a Tabua, I think they pronounce it. And they serve gin and tonics. So all of these customized gin and tonics. And it's delicious. It's a great place to go for a drink on the water. It's amazing.
Is it time yet? No, it's not time.
We might make it work. No, but cool. That's one of my favorite spots to go to.
Okay, fantastic.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, do you find a lot of other foreigners, like community-wise? And you said some of your friends are further out.
Right.
Have you found many foreigners or local Portuguese here that you've connected with?
I have. So it's been a mix. One of the things that I find with some people moving here is they're looking for a community. And maybe because I'm from the US, I'm just used to my community being, my friends are scattered. So I don't necessarily, my community isn't my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. But we have been meeting people who have been more local that we've been connecting with. We have our neighbors that just moved in next door. They're from Ireland.
All right.
And they are lovely, lovely people. And then I also have a friend who lives in a few towns over in Almadna, and she is Portuguese, but also German. She moved to Germany at the age of 25, and now she's back.
Okay,
and so we spend a lot of time together. But most of our friends they're scattered. They're everywhere.
And Carl's a member of a motorbike club, right? Or a motorbike group, right?
Yeah, so he likes to ride his dirt bike.
Yeah.
And he's found a community of people who ride regularly, and so he's able to connect with them. And in fact, he's going off riding this afternoon. And so it's
the camera's actually on his bike right now.
It is. It's on his bike.
He's got to go in 10 minutes. We've got to wrap up. Yeah.
No, it's great. And I found my dance community, which is great. And there's lots to do.
Sounds like life's pretty good.
Life is pretty good.
Yeah. Compared to the US?
Absolutely. This was the best decision we've ever made. We tell all our friends. I had friends when I left who, most people were very happy. It's like, oh, that's amazing. That's so courageous. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. But there were a few that said, you're going to be bored. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
This is wonderful to listen to how happy Rubina and Carl are and enjoying their life in Salema and around that area. So I hope that helps, and I hope it gives you a really lovely picture of Salema. Obviously, there's lots more to explore, so get down there and go and have a look-see. It's a beautiful spot. It really is lovely. Stay the night. There's lots of Airbnbs and logement local, as we call them here, around, so you can stay there for a couple of days. And that Hotel Residencial, which I pointed out in the beginning. So, as you may be aware, we are essentially, Algarve Addicts is essentially a real estate agency where Nick Smith and Dwight Rodriguez look after all of you guys who come over and help you relocate and help you find houses and long-term rentals as well. So if you're in need of something like that and you're looking to come over to Portugal or to the Algarve in particular, get in touch on algarveaddicts.com/contact and we'll help you out. All right, so next week we're going to be looking probably at Alt, which is another small little town. We're getting through the small towns first so I can paint you a picture, so I've done all the big towns before, and now we're going to go through the small towns and then do the big towns again because things change over time. All right, so I'm really excited for this new Algarve Unlocked series. I hope you are too, so keep on following, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. It'd be great, because otherwise, why are we doing this? And we'll see you next week with Alt. And my friend Fiona is coming back as well. So she's always good fun. All right. Stay well. Have a fantastic week. AlgarveAddicts.com. We'll see you next week. But if you need any help relocating to the Algarve, click through to our website, AlgarveAddicts.com. We offer tours, immigration assistance, long-term rentals, and we can buy you a house.